I want to talk about now. We're going to get into the cold outreach a little bit. Now, the slide that you're looking at or listening to, if slides could talk, I think that should be a podcast name. If slides could talk,
you can do that.
So what I'll just highlight here is that it's a traditional basic spiral from many conversations. You get a few different customers, and what I want to highlight is these buckets. Every customer, every kind of company has different buckets of where the customers could come from. Either different portfolio, different personas, different ICPs. It could be. Initially, you might be targeting the VP of R&D, but actually your real champion is going to be in the QA component. Like, it takes a little time to figure out where the champion is.
Yeah.
Okay? It's a reality. It's going to take a lot of conversations. And what I want to show you is now we're going to be looking at a case study of this just happened 2 weeks ago. The company was using cold outreach methodology that we were running, and then we're going to break this down together. This company basically is going to unlock $2 million of funding from this process. So I'm going to show you step by step. This company got a term sheet directly at the valuation they wanted to from a UK-based, actually I could tell you it's Cedar Capital. So this is one of the leading funds. Israeli company and we're shooting this in the middle of, a very challenging environment. And it's an Israeli company.
Cold outreach.
Entirely cold. This is not warm.
Let's investigate.
Let's try to see what this is about. How did this work? And what do we see from it? Okay. So the way that starts in our process is these buzzwords, right? The buzzwords means give us what the ICP is looking for. So in our case, this is, diagnostics, AI, impact, pre-seed, early stage, Israel, mental health. These are if I was the VC, these are the areas I'm investing in. This is what I'm looking for.
Yeah.
So from there, what we're doing is we're essentially checking the VC's websites to identify, okay, do they have these keywords? Okay. For those who are nerdy and they want to go, they can look at clay.com, a very impressive piece of technology where you can actually scrape keywords on websites of VCs.
Just VCs.
Oh, any website.
I'm just kidding.
Exactly. But you can basically input, these are the words I'm looking for. Tell me if those websites have those words.
Yeah.
Cool piece of technology. They're getting better. Again, clay.com. So step one, you talk to an entrepreneur. Tell me exactly the type of ICP keywords. So if you are looking for customers, okay, innovation officer. It could be HR specialist. It could be this person appeared on podcasts. Whatever it may be, you identify that. Okay, step one. Now, those keywords are going to be used in outreach. Okay. Now, typically when you do cold outreach, you're looking at a percentage of reply rate of around 2 to 4%. You're doing really, really well. Now, our average campaigns are averaging between 15 to 25% responses. So we're doing probably 600% better than the average.
Yes.
Right. And when I showed this to the guys at Fusion in the previous cohort, they said, that can't be. How is that possible? And we're using templates, by the way, remember, it's still templated. I think that because we know who our ICP is really, really well, and we're talking directly to what they care about. And I'll go a little bit through this email that, again, was able to be successful, and I'll explain how we thought about crafting this email. Guy, any questions before we...
No.
So
let's
far,
go.
so good? Okay. So I'm going to read it out, and I'll explain each part. And again, I can't disclose too much about who this company is for privacy reasons, but I'll say that it's an AI company in the digital health space. So the subject line was AI in a specific area, so that they were addressing, and then dash Israel PhDs. Okay, the reason why we structured it this way was very simple. AI is obviously a hot topic that everybody cares about. Two is the fact that it shows that the sector shows that we did the homework, that this VC is looking specifically at that sector. And the Israel PhDs was the idea of, okay, there's some sort of differentiation just from like an early stage, no deep tech solution, right? That was what we're thinking. Then, hi X, I understand you invest in early stage digital health startups. That is the only personalization we did in this campaign. Okay. Or if it was a different keyword, that's where the insert would be a different keyword.
Yeah.
So here, what we were doing is we did the research of knowing these guys care about early stage companies and digital health startups. The next stage is name of the company and the problem they're solving, and they said which is crucial in improving outcomes and reducing the $6 billion a year cost associated with late X, Y, and Z. The reason why we put numbers there is because unless it's a big problem, VCs don't care.
Yeah.
So we go straight. There's a market. It's a big issue. Then we talk about what the problem is specifically in the current solution, which is it's not able to accurately diagnose this issue. And then it talks about, okay, we have a patent pending, got it. There's an AI piece to it, and we have a very deep tech team. So let's look at it. Problem, is there size of the problem? Yes. Okay. 2 is there a team that could potentially solve this problem?
Yes.
Yes. The CTO led 2 of Israeli Army's top research units, while the CEO has extensive interpersonal experience and a double PhD. What do we see there? The CTO clearly has a deep understanding, and the CEO has not just the deep education, he also ran a company.
Yeah,
so he's
we
an
can
entrepreneur.
assume founders market fit from that paragraph, for sure.
And then he's also the legal guardian of his cousin who has this issue. So we added that point here because to show that this person is driven to solve this problem. Because at the pre-seed stage, we care about the team. That's the most important part, is the team, and the market is big enough. So he cares about this issue because his own family is directly affected by it. And then we've already completed a clinical trial at this location, and it showed this type of success. So there's already traction there. And then here's the important part. Currently, we have a lead investor who's committed $1 million, and we're looking for $1 million funding to complete our round. Can I share a deck with you? So we did not ask for a meeting. We didn't ask for time.
Why would you ask just to share a deck and not a meeting?
Okay, so there's 3 reasons, okay? Number 1 is we believe in pattern interrupts. The pattern interrupt was a pattern interrupt. You're expecting something when you get a cold email. And if you guy look through your cold emails, probably a lot of them would say, can I just get 30 minutes or just 20 minutes or the people who are really creative, just 18 and a half minutes. Oh, she's not asking for 30. This guy's creative. Just like, if I do the math of, imagine a guy, $250,000 salary. You know what 30 minutes cost of this guy's time? That's a big, heavy ask.
And when they reply to that, would you really send the deck or also offer time to connect?
All right. So what happens is, by the way, when we say there's going to be a reply there, the reply is going to be one of 3 options. I just want to highlight this, the thought process here. One of the options is going to be it's outside of scope, which is great. You've basically understood that this person is not relevant, right? So, for example, you say you want a customer, he says, look, I'm no longer at the company. Mm-hmm. That's a great. We just found something out. The second option is going to be, I would actually like to see your deck. So when we send the deck, what we do is the following. The response has the deck as a link, right? But we don't password protect the deck. I'm against that. And then if you think this is relevant, that here is our calendar invite. Right there. Boom.
Calendly
invite.
Yeah.
So they could pick directly the time. Now, what's going to happen typically, again, in our use case is they're going to look through the deck and they're going to forget about it. So what you have to do is you basically have to see a principle in 7 days. I have to follow up with this individual. This is an important thing to the entrepreneurs, right, who are listening. To you, you are the most important thing in the world. To them, you are just one more email. So you have to respect them enough to assume that A, they're not going to respond. 2 is even when they respond with interest, they're not gonna reply back to you. It's on you. That goes back to where we started in the conversation. We have to do the heavy lift in the beginning of the relationship. And if we prove ourselves, then other people come and do the heavy lift in the future. But at this point, you're doing the heavy lift.
Got it.
So I want to show you this funny part here. And as we're closing out, because this is really the last slide here I want to share. Do you know what the response to this email was?
It's written here, 19%.
Oh, sorry. No, the response to the email that they sent to this VC. What was the response you think they replied back?
We don't think it's relevant for us?
So what they said was, typically we don't invest in Israel because you guys have such a powerful ecosystem there. And we don't have a team on site to do due diligence.
Yeah, so why are we so lucky to get this email from you, basically?
That was one issue, right? And I'll explain how they countered that. That's a good objection, by the way. It's an excellent objection. That's why I think Gaia and I actually have a disagreement here. From my understanding is I always believe they need to have design partners of first customers in Israel. Guy, from the previous, you always said, I need you to find customers that can be validated outside of Israel. So we can have that. That would be a separate, when slides could talk podcast. But they said, they gave an objection saying, we don't know if we can, and then his response, which I think was the right response, was, one was, we have this angel investor from a very well-known company in Israel who's already invested, and we're looking to have external VCs on our term sheet, on our cap table.
Yeah.
Okay,
so
great.
already have been validated from Israeli investors. We want someone from the outside to help us reach to other markets.
Great response. It was 2 weeks from the first conversation to term sheet sent.
Amazing.
Right? So what I'm going to show here, and then we're going to put everything together right now, is for those entrepreneurs who are listening, you start with warm, and warm is trust. If you have to go cold, don't be afraid of cold. Cold 100% works, but cold starts with this notion of I'm doing the work. I'm doing the heavy lifting. I will do the research. I will personalize it to the extent of I see that this is what you care about. This is where we fit into your agenda. You do not ask for a meeting, you ask for interest. If they show interest, great. You follow up. No, 100% that when you follow up, you will be ignored. And that's why you do, what we advise to our customers is the following. You do 7 days, wait. Then you follow up. You do not follow up, I'm just bringing this to the top of your inbox. You never say that. That is not what you do. You don't say, just check in.
Yeah.
Don't do the checking
Question
in.
mark.
Question mark. Reply all. No, that is not how you do this, right?
You follow up with the action, right? With a call to action, and actually maybe sometimes even a short one-liner update of what's been happening since you last talked with them.
Exactly. Or what we like to do is send them an article. Say, I just looked at this. This seems like really interesting. Like they validated our assumption. Like this big consulting group just validated our assumption. I thought you might find it super interesting, right? So never just do, never do this thing about just checking in. You are bringing value in the conversation always. You're coming in and saying, I have something to give to you. Here's my gift to you. I'll tell you with customers that are ghosting me. I often one of the emails I said to him, I was just during Shabbat, and I said during the Shabbat, I just thought about you for this reason, and I want to send this over to you.
Yeah,
I was because the bottom line is I'm a human being. I'm a human being who thinks about you as a human being. Can we have this conversation? Great. So in short, my friends, highlighting this point,